Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, live here to the Niko Project here every single Sunday from 1 to 2 p.m. Thank you for all my listeners out there, and we have had ourselves a crazy weekend here. We just finished up the Frank Savine invite here at the University of Nebraska, and it was an exhilarating meet, man. My family came down here. Grandpa came down here. The stadium, the Vanny, was packed better than I've ever seen it before. A lot of good times, a lot of good races. But as my guest today, I got a very special guest for each and every single one of you guys out there. My dad, by the name of Nick Schultz, or Nicholas Schultz. My name's Niko, and so my name's also Nicholas Schultz, but they call me Niko. They call him Nick. Nick Schultz. I'm gonna give you a little rundown on who this guy is right here. So my dad had me when he was 19 years old, and so he played basketball in high school, baseball in high school. I ended up sucking at both of those sports, but I got my genes from him just being athletic. And so, when he had me, went to work right away, provided for the family. Mom was also very young, so she stayed home for a little bit. Mom became an MRI technician, dad, flooring installer. And so here I am today, me and my little brother here at the University of Nebraska. And so it's pretty cool to see everything come around full circle. And yeah, Dad, how you feeling about being on the show today, man?
Hey now, I got to say something here because this weekend has been fantastic. Not feeling the greatest. Didn't know I was going to make the trip this weekend, but I got to say, who cares about sickness? Because what you did last night was something I've never seen before. 1869, Nebraska was established. And now you're number 2 all time in 800 indoor track. That, dude, beside that is so impressive. Like, to me, what you've accomplished here in such a short amount of time, because you were injured, your first year. So technically, you being a junior, you're like a sophomore. This is year 2. And you're 2 all time. I mean, I know you're in it now, but I'm already looking past it because that's so impressive, son. Like, I'm so proud of you, like what you become, the man you become, where you're at right now. I couldn't be more proud as a father. I mean, if I had to go back, I would do the same again, have a kid at 19. We're young parents. I'm still young at heart, I feel like. And to witness what I witnessed last night, especially the 4x4.
Oh, that was awesome.
You came in with like thunder, man. 2 laps, you were just killing. The crowd's going crazy. Yeah, I couldn't be more proud of you. So just congratulations on that. Sky's the limit. Keep pushing. Keep stacking these wins. And like I said, I can't wait to see what next week holds in Arkansas.
Heck yeah, man. Just the beginning, man. Like I said, likewise, man, I wouldn't be here without you too. Mom's also in the studio, so she's here listening, and she's not going to be on the mic today, but she's just listening to me and Dad. But yeah, likewise, man, I wouldn't be here without you two here making all the sacrifices that you guys did. And so I want to get into that a little bit, man. Let's go ahead and talk about the childhood of, what it was like, born September 5th, 1982. A bit of a different time period back then. So let's go ahead and start there, man. Talk about the childhood. 1988, moved to Hawaii, came back to Illinois. We had a very different upbringing, me and you. And so they say that, you try to make the next generation of your family better than the last. And so you came from a very, very crazy background. So let's share to the people, man, what your childhood was like growing up.
Oh man, I guess we could start there. Once the parents got divorced back in '88, we didn't know too much. We're young. I was 6 years old. I'm like, you know what? Being in Hawaii, we lived there for like 8 months. I went to school out there. It was super cool because my grandma, we call her Nana. She was out there. We love her, miss her. R.I.P. she raised us out there. My dad worked 12-hour days. We're at the beach every day, right? Living it up. So I think that's why I'm so fine with Hawaii, because I lived
Right.
out there. But then once you came back from Hawaii, man, if I think back to the 90s and compare to where we're at right now,
Right.
dude, no phones, no social media. So as a kid, I didn't have to compare myself with nobody. I
Right.
wasn't looking at the screen all day and be like, oh, I want to be like this. We had MTV and music videos and movies. That's what we looked up to. We went to school and just look whatever people wearing, like, I won't wear what they're wearing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think the 90s for me was so fun because we had no pressure of the social media right now. Because if you look at, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you get lost in that.
Yeah.
You just be
100%.
just scrolling forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So 90s was great. I got two sisters. Shout out Stacy and Alicia. Made it super fun. My dad, he worked so hard for us, but never skipped a meal. Always home for dinner. And that's the one thing. I had a pager back in the late 90s.
Pager.
He's I'm gonna page you, 911. You better call me. If not, you better be home for when the lights went down. You're home for dinner.
Right.
So family upbringing, dinner every night together, no matter what. So
Yeah.
these craziest days you had, dinner. So I think shout out to my dad for working hard, always doing his thing, making sure that we were good, never missed games, sports. He was a coach. He would umpire. He
Did everything.
worked, a 10-hour day, come out of the car, put his umpire gear on, and he coached. I mean, it was crazy.
We had him on the podcast here too about a month ago.
I
Too,
know.
so.
That was awesome, man. Once I seen him, I'm like, all right, jump on now.
So you think you got your hustling mentality from Grandpa Steve, your dad?
Oh, 100%. I mean, because listen, he's 67 right now, still working, retired, still grinding, still getting after it. So we have 150 workers at my shop right now.
Right.
I swear to you, he still works. He's top 10% because he works crazy. He doesn't
Right.
care. He could literally go there and coast, and he doesn't. He goes there and works just as hard as he did when he was in his 40s and 50s because he don't care.
That's insane to
He
say.
don't care what you say. He's gonna keep working hard. He loves it. He just loves it. And I get it now. Like at first when he go to work when he was retired. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. I'm like, no, I get it now. It's
Yeah.
the camaraderie. It's getting up. It's still feeling that because I might be that when I'm, my age, his age, I might be like, I kind of miss it, man. I miss the hanging out,
Being in the game.
so,
Can't turn it
but
off.
I will not do that, Dad. Shout out to you. Not doing it at all. But like I said, man, so me and my sisters, we had such a great time. Growing up, it was fun. Always did sports, and we always got along. We never fought. Even if we did, it was short lived. It's family. We're a close knit family. We're always tight. We always call each other, check in on each other, make sure we're good. And I think that's what it is. It's all about family. At
Right.
the end of the day, this track meet, seeing everybody, being out here. Everybody's super nice out here. The atmosphere in Nebraska is beautiful. So for you being here was your best decision you've made in your life.
Yeah.
You
It was
know?
a tough one.
It was tough, but I mean, with the whole COVID thing, it just lined up perfect. You know what I mean? And now you got that redshirt fifth year, so you still got 2 years to go.
Right. Right.
So I'm looking forward to that. But like I said, man, it's I told you out there, and this is from my guy David Goggins. The family you create is more important than the family you come from. So what I created, my wife created, we created you guys, and we gave you everything you needed to be where you're at today, successful. And Ivan, he's right behind you. You know what I mean? Super smart, super talented, super regimented in what he's doing. And we created all this, and now you're gonna go out and create everything that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's worth life itself. That's where we're at. So I just gotta think that going into like when I was in high school, didn't think I was gonna have a kid at 19. I'm like, ah man, I just lived. I didn't really think about anything. As soon as we had you, I'm like, all right, time to lock in. Like I told you, my dad was like, hey, gotta man up.
Go to work.
He was nonchalant about it. He's like, well, man up. So
Whoops.
once I got into that mode, and my wife could attest to this, having a kid young, I was like, all right, let me still hang out with, my old school crowd. And it just didn't work out. You know what I mean? What's the saying? Show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Mhm.
And the people that I was hanging around with were just bums. So I was like, I'm not even doing that. I separated myself from everybody, raised you We had a great upbringing. It was so fun. Like the best times of my life are having you kids young. Like we were still young. We'd play around. I mean, we were kids at heart too.
Right,
You know what I mean? Kids having kids. I know I don't recommend that people out there, but if it happens, you just gotta, go full on and take it on and man up. You know what I mean? And I've been married 22 years now, so it's been a great run. I'm looking forward to the future, and especially where I'm at right now. Especially to see you do what you're doing. Ivan's not far away from going to maybe Nebraska.
Imagine.
I hope so,
Imagine.
though. But yeah, just keep grinding with you guys. I'm only 41, so just keep pushing through. And like I said, I look at life real simple. It's life is not a window; it's a mirror. You know what I mean? It's a reflection of yourself. How you see yourself is how you see everything. Like we're sitting here looking outside, I could be like, "Oh, it's dark, it's negative outside," or be like, "It's beautiful outside." It's life is what you make it.
Half full versus half empty, the glass?
Always, always. Yeah, it has to be because if you look at the mirror and you think, "All right, you know what? Today's gonna be a good day." It's gonna be a good day. Hey, I think to every day is a good day till it's not, and then next day, you wake up, let's go, get after it again.
Yeah, 100%. What you told me right after that 4x4 yesterday. I mean, this weekend we were having our doubts. Our best guy was hurt. We're going into that race. We're like, man, I don't know. Our Nick and Tyrell, shout out to them. After their 400, they were super disappointed with their performance. And I was talking to you guys, like, I don't know about this 4x4, man. Our team's not really in it. And I texted Nick late night, and I'm like, Nick, you got to rally this team together, man. You're the captain of this team. You're our guy. Like if you say that it's going to be a negative race, it's going to be a negative race because you're our fastest guy. If you want to go out there and give us a shot to win, you're going to be that guy. And then right after we go out there, we win it. You told me right after, like, son, what I tell you? I told you, you over here talking negative as if you're not going to win the race. And then bam, what happened? You went out there, beat Baylor. Nobody expected that. Now we're the number 4 team of the Big Ten. I mean, that's all that is.
You never know. Just like any given Sunday, you never know. You just gotta show up. I mean, nobody thought that Mike Tyson was gonna lose to Buster Douglas back in the day.
Right.
You never know.
I know.
You just show up. Just put whatever you got, just put it out there. Because every day is a new day, right? Like just because you went out and did all that, that's fantastic. But guess what? You still gotta go run 6 miles today.
Yep.
You still gotta get ready for the next week. You still
know.
have to get after it. Thursday, you're going to Arkansas. Then you got the tune up, and then your Big Ten
Big Ten
championship.
championships.
It,
Never
it,
ends.
it doesn't stop, right? And that's life. It just keeps on going. You got to keep pushing.
I know.
Now, I told you before, man. You got to stack wins, even though it's small, might be a little here and there. Especially when you're injured, just stack little wins, and with little wins add up to big wins. You know what I mean? That's where you're at, right? Because when you're injured, you were like, "Oh man, I'm down, I'm out, this and that." And I said, "Listen, stay focused." And what you do, you start working on your mind. A lot of times it's you versus you, right? You get in your head sometimes, and that's all of us. We all go through our heads. We all go through situations where we're kind of just not feeling ourselves. But if you just sit down and just relax and think about, all right, how do I get back on track? How do I feel better? Because at the end of the day, you have to make yourself feel better. Nobody's gonna make you feel good. You know what I mean?
100% get that. I mean, for a little context out there, 2 years ago, I got a stress fracture on my left shin, and it was my freshman year. I was overtraining, wasn't sleeping enough, wasn't eating right. Bam, got a stress fracture, and I was super disappointed because I wanted to come in. I had big expectations, big goals to try to help our 800-meter crew. Bring us back. Our 800-meter crew wasn't very strong back in the day, and so like I wanted to be the person to come and save it. Went a little bit too hard, got hurt, and so I'm out for the entire year. And I'm like, man, what do I do? I'm kind of down and out. And I lost a little bit. I was a bit lost for my sense of purpose and for really who I wanted to be because my entire personality revolved around being a track athlete. It's the only thing I was looking forward to all day. It was the only thing my personality was kind of about when I got to the university. And so as soon as I got hurt, it really forced me to self-reflect and be like, all right, what do I want to do? How am I going to provide value to the university, provide value and, make a name for myself out here without my running ability? And that's what actually got me into where I'm at today at this radio station, got into podcasting, got into editing, YouTube, taught myself how to create my own YouTube channel, communicate, build an audience. And so when I got back to being healthy and competing again, I had this to fall back on my free time too, and became a more balanced person. So looking at it in hindsight, it was actually a blessing to get injured at that time too. Freshman year, I was still super young, 19 years old, still a lot to figure out about who I am as a person. And yesterday, actually, 2 years ago today, and back in 2021, 2022, I was in a boot and I was injured on crutches. And then yesterday, I ran the number 2 all-time time at the University of Nebraska, and I ranked 5th in the Big Ten. and taking shots to the school record. It's just crazy how far you can come. And, you know, I'm checking my journal too, because I like to journal, and I was checking my journal back in 2022, and I had visions of, you know, being in the same position I'm at today. Like, you're going to make it one day you're going to be the hero, be the guy out there doing your thing. And at the time, I didn't see it. At the time, I didn't, you know, I was writing it, but at the same time, I didn't know if I was even believing it. I don't know how it was going to shape out. But I mean, in a sense, like, I almost predicted it to the exact point. Like, I'm here today talking on the radio, got that side of my life figured out, on the track, killing it, not injured. I understand the sport so much better than I did 2 years ago. And it's crazy how things work out when you actually manifest things.
But that's what I'm saying. You thought about it. You knew. You visualized it. And I told you when you were injured, all I kept saying was, "Hey, now you can't use your body. Use your mind.
Yep.
Get your mind right. Read your books. Get on point with yourself. Right. Find self reflection. And that's what it's all about. Because you know, every day you get a chance. You get a chance and a choice every day.
Right.
The chances you wake up, the choice is yours. What are you gonna do for the day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you that's all on you. So every day you could just better yourself. It's almost like delayed gratification sometimes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just because you work out today don't mean nothing. But do it for a month, you do it for 3 months, and you start picking up little things. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's all it takes.
It works in a negative way too.
Yo, 100%. You know what I mean? So you got to look at yourself sometimes and say, how do I get better? What do I have to do to get better? And it's all your visual. Can you visualize you winning?
Right.
Right? Did you ever visualize being number 2 all the time in Nebraska?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Now,
did.
now your next vision is, okay, I could probably get to number 1, right?
Yeah.
Still got 2 years to go. You know, so you just got to keep pushing. Sky's the limit, man. But like I said, keep stacking these wins, man. That's all I got to say. You know, even though they might be small at some point, just keep going. Don't stop, because this is a great opportunity for you. You know, just to sit here and see where you've become, especially the last couple of years, and what you learned over the last couple of years. You know, I didn't go to college myself, so I'm kind of living through you. So I just love it. I'm sitting back. It's like I'm watching a movie. You know what I mean? And this is something that we had created, right? And I just every day I love it. I love just, you know, waking up, you know, all right, looking at Twitter, seeing what you've done, or you know, all the fun stuff that's going on with you. So like I said, keep pushing. I mean, even to be here at the radio station is super cool, you know. And it's something that came out of nowhere,
It is.
right?
It is. I mean, going back to what you said about show me your friends, show me your future. I'm reading this book right now called Atomic Habits. I definitely recommend it to anybody out there listening. And it goes hand in hand with what you're saying about your environment and who you surround yourself with. And it becomes your habit. There was like this story back in the early 2000s of this one doctor, or this one psychologist. And he really thought that if, you know, he had 2 daughters, and he was like, I want to create chess prodigies. And so throughout the entire house, in order to go to the bathroom, in order to eat, in order to basically get like he made it a competition within the house to just make everybody amazing at chess. And his wife was a teacher, and she wasn't on board with it at first, but then she ended up going with it. And so next thing you know, she had the first daughter. She was beating adults by 5 years old. The second daughter, she ended up being like the youngest grandmaster of all time. And then the third daughter was better than all of them by the time of 15 and 16. And then as they got older and they're one of the world's best chess players, the interviews would ask them, like, are you burnt out? Do you feel like your parents made this too difficult for you? And they were like, absolutely not. Like, this is like my life. I grew up playing chess. I love the game. Like, this is awesome. And like, that just goes to show, like, whatever environment you're in, like the habits that you do. I mean, if our goal as a society, as a humans, is to fit into your surroundings. So like, if you grew up around chess prodigies, if you grew up around professional athletes, like, it's your goal to fit in. It's your goal to copy the lingo, fit in, win. And it, like I said, it goes vice versa too. If you're around negative people doing bad things, it literally goes hand in hand.
You feed off of them, man. It's
Exactly.
all about just like energy. So once you guys realized yesterday in the 4x4, when you realized you showed up there, you felt that energy. You guys all felt it.
Right.
It wasn't like you guys all showed up like, oh, this ain't gonna go good.
We competed. We fought. We're like, we're still in it. Let's go. So awesome. Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and send this one back to break. But in this next segment, we're going to go ahead and talk about what life was like, you know, once you were in your 30s and you know, how you transformed. So we'll connect back with you guys right after this break.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Delicious, decadent, scrumptious, delightful. What other words can I use to describe something so good? I can't even tell it's healthy. How about heavenly? Chef Bob created heavenly waffles with an incredible fluffy recipe packed with protein and loaded with a plethora of angelic toppings to elevate the experience beyond the typical waffle and syrup. Don't just take our word for it. Join us for Heavenly Waffles Wednesday to experience heaven for yourself.
This Wednesday, February 7th from 8 to 11 a.m. at the 93.7 The Ticket Studios on the corner of 11th and O.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seating Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody, here live to the Niko Project, live here every single Sunday at 1 to 2 p.m. For those who don't know me, I'm Niko Schultz. I'm a track and field athlete here at the University of Nebraska. And today I brought on my dad for our special guest today for the podcast, Nick Schultz. If If you didn't have a chance to tune into the last session, we were talking a little bit about his upbringing. Born in 1982, lived in Hawaii a little bit, had divorced parents. Grandpa or my grandpa, his dad grew up hustling, 10-hour, 12-hour days to provide for him and his 3 children. My dad had me pretty young, 19 years old, and then has been grinding at work ever since. It's been a ride, man. I got to tell you, everything I have today and everything I've become is because of my parents. And it's just awesome being able to perform at this next level here at the University of Nebraska. Yesterday I had the chance to take a shot at something big. I was facing a 145 800-meter runner, and when the pressure builds up and you got a whole entire stadium full of people cheering you on, you do pretty big things. And I was fortunate enough to run the number 2 all-time time here at the University of Nebraska for the 800-meter run. Ran a 148.1, currently ranked number 25 in the nation, and top 16 makes nationals. So we're gonna keep chopping away at that. But going back to my dad, man, like I said, super hard worker. I mean, I remember him telling me stories about when he was a teenager. That dude was over here, raking the baseball field lots. He would ride his bike 20 minutes away, collecting checks, buying the nicest shoes, nicest pants, and always was about making the money, grinding, putting in the time and effort. And that's why I modeled myself after growing up. I always saw him putting in the work. As a kid, I loved playing outside. I was kind of like the last generations without the iPads, social media technologies, and all my 2002s and older can attest to this. But I mean, it's a very different time period back then. And I just remember as a kid growing up, my dad was always working on projects, playing basketball in the front yard, staying in shape. And, it motivated me to play football. There was a very big pinnacle moment growing up. I remember on a house project my dad did. He finished up the basement. Took him about 2 years to deck out our entire basement, did the floors, walls, put up a TV. And him and my mom had a conversation. They're like, should we put a bar downstairs or should we put a gym downstairs? And then dad was like, I think we should put the gym downstairs. And that was probably the best ROI you could have ever done, return on investment ever, because the whole entire family uses it. My dad, me, mom, little brother, and we're just down there 24/7 getting ripped. Back in the day, you used to do P90X, getting after it. And so, Dad, I want you to go ahead and talk about that, about your fitness journey. I got to say, maybe wasn't until like maybe 2012, 13, 14, back when you were like, 29, 30, 31, where you really started hitting the weights hard. I mean, you have a skinny background, playing baseball, basketball. You always had abs growing up. But I mean, it wasn't until then where you really started hitting the gym real hard, benching, playing basketball a lot, running, doing all these different things. And now you took it to a whole nother level. But go ahead and tell the people where you started out and then progressed to where you are today.
Well, listen, man, all I know is, in my 20s, all I want to do was make sure you guys were good, raise your kids, work really, really hard. And then once I got my 30s, I'm like, I could start doing some of me, right? I could really start taking care of myself. And you know what's longevity? It's the name of the game, right? When I'm 60, when I'm 70, I want to be healthy. I want to be in shape. Comfort is the aggressive pursuit of aging. So the more you sit and do nothing, the faster you age, right? And now I'm getting in my 40s right now. I'm like, I need to really start hitting it hard and really start maintaining myself. And I got you on this, but 2 years in a row, I've done 100 push-ups a day, every day for 2 years. That's 73,000 push-ups, right? And that's just discipline, right? There's great benefits from that, right? It gets your blood flowing and everything like that, but it's just a discipline, right? I did 50 this morning. I'll do 50 tonight before I go to bed, but it's every day. It doesn't, man. It's like brushing your teeth.
Right.
Everybody could do it. So
routine based.
If you're over 40 and you're not doing 100 push-ups a day, get on it. I'm telling you, it'll help you feel good. And that's all you got to do. You just got to be consistent, right? And it's all like I told you, delayed gratification, right? It's just consistency. Especially when we built that gym, and then we created a kind of an atmosphere at the house, right? Like I'd be down there, then my wife would go down, and you'd be down there early. I remember the one time I was yelling at you. It was like 2 a.m. You're on the treadmill. I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm getting ready for the race. And then you broke that record like the next day or something. I was like, this dude's crazy.
No, I got to say something about that. You guys were so mad at me because that weekend, like my back was against the wall at that time period. Like I said, I had no scholarship at the time. I'm a senior. And I was basically betting on myself. Like, listen, if I don't get a scholarship and if I don't do something crazy, it was a race in Chicago at the time. It was a 600-meter run. And I told myself, if I don't put on the performance of my life, I'm going to lose it all. And so I woke up at 3 a.m. like 2 nights before. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go on the treadmill. I'm going to go crazy. Cause like, I feel like you would get really mad if I snuck out the house and ran outside at 3 a.m. So I'm like, I'm going to stay on the treadmill. Worst decision of my life. I had a better chance of sneaking out at 3 a.m. than I did on that treadmill. Cause I woke the entire house up. The dogs woke up. First one to come down was Dad, what are you doing, man? Are you on the treadmill? What are you doing? Like,
loud.
You think this is gonna change something? And then mom come down there yelling, "Are you serious, Niko? Like, then again with this?" And then I even was like, "Yeah, man, you messed up." And I don't have this video no more. I wish I did, but right after I recorded, I'm like, everyone's mad at me. No one believes in me. He's like, but I know what I just did. I just made myself better. My competition's not waking up at 3 a.m. and running. And then what happened 2 days later? I broke a 20-year-old state record in Illinois and got a scholarship to Nebraska. And then you guys were happy then. I was like, hey, you guys weren't speaking my language. You guys didn't understand where I was coming from, but I knew that this would happen, and it happened. So sometimes you got to bet in yourself, even when even your loved ones don't even see the vision. Sometimes you just got to know, So
I just didn't want you to get injured, especially was loud. I'm trying to go to work the next day. The treadmill was
you
loud.
Wake up at 4 a.m.
Old treadmill. So
wasn't the smartest decision, but I mean, hey, it did something to me mentally and spiritually. I kind of had that vision. But back to you though. A question that I got for you. I mean, you started out. I mean, like I said, growing up, Grandpa Steve really wasn't crazy into fitness. Obviously, we all have idols. We all have people that we idolize. But I mean, back then, social media really wasn't that big. So I mean, Instagram influencers, people on YouTube in the weight room. I mean, like, you really didn't have that much of a base. So I mean, what really pushed you to start working on yourself, getting into the weight room, getting big, and just staying overall fit? I mean, what really motivated you to do that?
I gotta say, David Goggins, man. I seen a couple videos of him, and me, my cousin, and Niko, we go back and forth with David Goggins. But basically, everything that guy does, he just pushes people and pushes himself. And you know what? He said something to me, or not to me, but on a podcast once. He says, "Your mind or your body will give up before your mind will." Right? So if you think you're running, you're like, "Oh, I can't do it." Oh, your body's fine. It's your mind. You're going to give up first before your body does.
Right.
So every time I'm working out or I'm doing races, I just push myself. And another thing he said is doing the obvious consistently. And what is that? That's eating healthy weekly, right? Making sure your diet's on point. Get 10,000 steps. Do your push-ups. Get your workouts in. Do a couple runs. Just being consistent. Like I told you before, stacking wins over and over. It's just little things, right? I'm 41 now. And I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit here, but 2021, I ran 20 miles. Last year, 20 miles in a year, right? And now I ran last year, I ran 280 miles outdoors. And that's nothing for you guys. You guys run a ton. But when you get my age, let me see you run 300 miles.
Yeah,
it takes a toll on your body, right? But I feel great. My blood work doesn't lie. It basically, everything lowered because I was running, right? And it's just moving your body, getting your blood flow. And that's all it's about. And even I started this crazy ice bath. I mean, my wife thought I was nuts for this, but last year before I ran Drake, I started.
What is Drake, by the way, for people out there?
Drake University. My wife and my son surprised me with signing me up for the 800-meter 40 and over race, Masters. Yeah, signed me up for that last year. I was so excited because I didn't run track in high school. I just did baseball and basketball. So I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I trained hard for it. I got injured a week before. I pulled my calf muscle, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go out there, just give it what I got.
Right.
I came out first 200, came out with a 32. I'm like, oh, this is great.
That's fast, by the way. Very fast.
My calf gave out around about the 100-meter marker. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So I crossed first in the first 400. I'm like,
first
all right,
lap.
here we go. I was like 109. I pushed, and at the end, I knew I wasn't going to be first, but I came in third place, I think, in my division right there.
Exactly.
So 228. So I'm training currently for this year. I'm shooting for 220 or less. Last year I had, I think, a couple, maybe 9 miles under my belt before I ran that race, like outdoor. I'm already at 30 for the year. So I'm already ahead of the game. Put the spikes on, start training hard.
You know what to expect now.
Yeah. And being out there, I didn't realize you can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Like when I took that 32, everybody scream. I hear nothing.
You're in your own head, bro. You're just in the zone.
And that felt great. So I've been waiting a year for this, and I'm coming for everybody. I don't care. Like
he's coming for heads.
I don't care. I'm so excited for that. And since then, I mean, I did that mile race with Ivan, your brother. I ran a 540, and that was harder than the 800. That hurt. 540 hurts. If you're 40 years old, you run a 540, it hurts. I don't care who you are. I didn't run that in high school. You know what I mean?
To think that all started as a joke. I mean, mom, she calls me one day. She's like, Niko, what do you think? Should I sign your dad up for this race in Iowa? I don't know how to feel. I'm like, Mom, perfect. And she was kind of thinking of it as like a joke, like he's going to be kind of nervous. But no, it actually had the opposite effect. She sent him on on a path she could have never imagined. She sent this dude on the ice bath path, running miles path. This dude's over here asking me for track advice, what type of workouts to be doing. And ever since then, mom was like, man, what have I created? And dad, he's just been killing ever since. It's so funny to hear that. And too, I'm running that day too. And I get off the bus. And if you look on the list online every single day that there's a track meet, there's a link that Nebraska posts to be able to see. And I'm showing all my friends, like, guys, look, my dad's running. It says Nicholas Schultz. And like, they're like, all right, Niko, very funny. Like, this just happens to be the same name. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, Nicholas Schultz, that's my dad. They're like, okay, like we get it. It's funny, but like, you can stop joking now. I'm like, come on. So we go to the track. We get out there, and by the perfect timing, as soon as the gun goes off, we all arrive to the track. So we're running. I see him come across the first 232. I'm like, oh no, what's he doing? Because we had a race plan. I'm like, yeah, get out like 35, come through in 70. He gets out in like 32 and like 33. He comes through in like 65, 66. You're like, oh my gosh, he's about to explode. And the dude passed him, and then he could stay consistent. And then he had a crazy kick the last 100. We were like, what just happened? We're all cheering him on in the stands, laughing. I can't wait for this year. I think you're gonna drop some heat this year. I think 215, 214. That'd be crazy.
I'm hoping for that. Like I said, I'm training super hard. I just built a sauna in the basement out of nothing under my stairs. I just built a sauna one day in 2 days because I wanted to. So now I'm icing, I'm sauna. I mean, I'm doing a whole 9. I'm all in right now. So you know, and it's like I told you before, man. It's consistency. I'm just gonna keep doing this, and there's no stop, right? Just keep doing it, right? Because the older you get, when you're 50, especially men, you lose muscle every year when you turn 50. Every year, like, let me take a little more muscle from you. By the time you're 60, you're like, geez. So if you just keep maintaining, especially as you get older, there's no reason why, right? You know, you want to be in great shape when you get older because I don't want to be 67 years old and be able to do nothing, right? You know, I'm just going to keep consistently running. I'm trying to hit 400 miles outdoors this year. So, you know, that's where I'm at, especially your brother, man. He's got me on all kinds of stuff too. You know, I run with him. He's fast, man. He runs 10 miles all of a sudden, like out of nowhere.
He's run more miles than me, actually. I've never ran more than 9 straight. That dude's done like 13, 14. Yeah. He's a menace with that cross country.
Sub 7 too. That's
dude.
Tough.
Yeah, no, he's impressive, dude. And you know, things I want to go back on too. You mentioned that you got the sauna going on. You know, that thing gets anywhere up to 150 to 200 degrees. And you even mentioned the cold plunging ice bath. And Nebraska is very similar to Illinois. I mean, things were negative 10 degrees, negative 5 degrees. And, you wake up every single morning for work around 4 a.m. You got to get there by like 6. And before you go to work, you're hopping in the ice bath 3 times a week. And that ice bath can get down to 30 degrees. And there's even times where you're breaking in the ice to get into it. And I just think that things like that alter your brain chemistry, because obviously you wake up the first thing in the morning. One, just waking up that early in general, your mind's telling you, no, like stay in, turn over, just go back to bed. Getting yourself out of bed, 1, that's the first win. 2, throwing yourself in 30 degree water and just like, oh my gosh, like it feels like you want to die. So you stay in there for 3 minutes, you get out, cool yourself off. You have like the next 4 or 5 hours, just like this high in your brain, almost similar to drugs, but like in the healthy, the dopamine, right? It just hits your brain because your body's trying to warm itself up, and that just carries on the whole entire day. And that's the perfect way to start your day. I was reading like this one book on how to be, rich and successful. And they said that a lot of successful people do that. They throw themselves in cold water in the morning to start their day off, to kickstart things off. And it's real natural, real healthy. And I think a lot of people should definitely look into it and give it a shot here in the future.
Listen, if you put your body through stress, especially that early in the morning,
right?
And you're basically freaking out, like, oh my God, it's cold thing. Once you're done, nobody can mess with you. The rest of the day, you're like, okay, because I have a stressful job. I'm a superintendent. I deal with all kinds of stuff throughout the day. But I've already put myself through pain already. You can't phase me. Nothing that comes my way, I'm like, let's go. I'll fix that.
Right.
It's nothing. At that point, you're ready to go. So I think it's almost been a year now doing this. And we did it when it was like 19 degrees out.
It was bad.
But it's dark. It doesn't feel good. But when it's all said and over, you're incredible. Your body's great. Inflammation's down.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love it. I wouldn't go back.
I agree. I think the pain of discipline wins over the pain of regret and failure every single time. I mean, there's been so many times where like I've just dwelled on situations in the past, like, dang, I should have done differently with this race, or I wish I would have worked harder in the past. But then like the pain of discipline, like for example, at this break that we were just on, right? I mean, me and you were hitting the ice bath hard, hitting the sauna. I'm going crazy with training. I'm trying to manifest a really big season, and me doing that and setting myself up for now I feel like in a sense it's completely altered my brain chemistry and the way I approach everything now. I mean, everything before, I used to always like look at things twice. Like for example, with laundry, whenever like I would just go to my room, throw it on the floor, go to class, come back, and like, dang, I got all this laundry. And then like I would get stressed, and then homework, and I'll put it off, let it procrastinate, get stressed again. And as you mentioned before, stacking things up, stacking wins, stress also stacks up too. So if you take care of things on time, even when you don't want to do them, there's something like small that goes on in your brain, like almost like lying to yourself, like almost like Conor McGregor in that one documentary, right? Where he's talking about like, I would told myself I want to eat this, and then I eat it. Or I told myself I go to sleep at this time, I want to go to sleep. Like there's just small wins and the small accumulations. I mean, that really changes you. And like, as you said before, you're not going to notice it if you just do it 1 or 2 times, right? It takes months to develop that and keep on going and going. And I started training for this in the summer. And, now I'm finally at the position. In the summer, I didn't think I'd get at this point. But then now I'm here. I'm like, dang, I'm glad I put in that work. And the work I'm putting in now is going to transfer over to May, June, July, all that. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this last break here and then enter our final segment. This has been the Niko Project.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a 1-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey now, we're back here at the Niko Project for the last and final segment. This has been an amazing show here today with my old man himself, Mr. Nick Schultz. Like I said before, had me at 19 years old, grinded throughout from 20 to 30 years old. 30 came, he said, you know what, might as well build an in-home gym, hit fitness for the next 10 years. Now he's 41 years old, getting after it in the best shape of his life. And so we're going to close out this final segment talking about our next 10-year goal. So, I mean, I'll go ahead and start things off. So, you know, from right now, I'm 21, where I want to be in 31 in 2034. It sounds even crazy to say, but I mean, I'm still like in 2018, it feels like. I mean, time has just been flying. And yeah, honestly, some things I really want to try to accomplish by the time I get there. I really want to write my own book by the time I'm 31. That's my goal. I love reading books, and I think I have a pretty interesting story. And somebody that's pushed me to do that, I'm not sure if a lot of people out there know her. Well, they should, but her name is Sydney McLaughlin, one of the best track athletes in the world, has broken the record numerous times. She's like a year or two older than me. She's done a lot of great things, and she's written a book, and a bunch of people have been loving it. So that's one of my goals. Try to attend an Olympics one day. That's my goal, my fitness goal. And if God gives me the ability and the opportunity, I'm going to take full advantage of it. And try to potentially, I'm really into speaking, inspiring, and helping out people. One of my goals is to try to give back to my high school. I've seen a lot of YouTubers, once they made it big, a lot of their YouTube ad revenue money that they bring in, giving it back to the community. That's one of my goals. And potentially and hopefully either be or make a film one day, make some type of movie. I'm not sure if that's going to happen within the next 10 years, but I mean, they say that, you know, we overestimate what we can do in a short period of time, in a month or two, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in 3, 4, 5, even 10 years. So that's my goal from, 21 to 31. What about you, old man? What you got for your next 10 to 41 to 51?
Just so I could tell you this, to feed off what you just said here, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. Denzel Washington. So you got to have goals. You got to have dreams. You got to put yourself in position to see it, especially like you said, for the next 10 years, where I see myself, I'm going to keep grinding what I'm doing. We're about to be empty nesters here in, a couple of years when Ivan goes to college. But I definitely want to run a marathon, probably 2025. I want to do a half this year. Just continue pushing my goals. I mean, I didn't know I was doing all this ice and sauna stuff, and I'm just going to keep learning, keep growing, keep being disciplined. And a couple buddies of mine, they do it too, man. Brandon, Tree, they're all on the fitness journey too. They get it, right? They're ice bathing. I got my father-in-law on it. My sister Stacy does it. My neighbor's doing it now. I should just sell these ice baths. You know what I mean?
Start an ice bathing company,
should,
LLC, it, right?
Nick knows ice baths, something like that.
Nick knows ice baths.
I mean, yeah. But you know what? And the way I look at it too, what you said earlier about sometimes if you tell yourself something and you don't do it, you're just lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I always told you and your brother this. I said, if you could control your emotions and time, you will be successful, right? With emotions, as far as if somebody is yelling, screaming at you and you snap and you go crazy, you're just giving them your emotions. They're controlling you, right? Be in your own. Control your own emotions. Don't let nobody control you. And time. Boom, just have your things lined up. If you're always late and you're doing this, you're running around, you don't have time for nothing, you're always like, oh, you're freaking out.
It's working against you.
Yeah, you're going backwards. You're in quicksand, right?
Right.
Just be consistent with that. Line your stuff up. Make things easy for yourself.
Yep.
If you say something, do something. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. You know what I mean? You got to feel that stuff. just because you want something don't mean you're going to get it.
Right.
You have to be able to feel it and visualize it and manifest it. And I'm a huge person thinking of manifesting. I think it works. I think you really have to dig deep. I think meditation's a great practice. I try to do that in a sauna. Just try to clear your head for 10, 15 minutes and really just focus, man. Really put your mind into perspective of things. And like I said, there's one thing I wanted to tell you too.
Mhm.
This is a great quote from this. Chris Williamson. He's a great he's a great podcaster.
Mhm.
The magic you're looking for is the work you're avoiding.
The work you're avoiding.
Think about it. People avoid a lot of things, but that's where it comes in. The hard work that listen, I work out so hard. All this sucks. It's not easy, right? All these runs, it sucks. But you got to do it. You got to put yourself through suck to get something you don't want. Like you got to keep pushing. None of this is easy, but you wouldn't be where you're at if you didn't go through the suck.
Yeah.
You're here just stacking wins and just keep creating different things and different hardships. The failures, you need failure. If you ain't trying, if you ain't failing, you ain't trying, right? You're gonna fail again. You're gonna lose again, but it's what you learn from that. And that's always the case in business, in life, in marriage, and everything. You gotta push, you gotta keep going. If you fall down, get back up. Let's go. What's next? Right? And a lot of these guys that I follow, like the Chris Williamson, Joe Rogan, Andy Elliott, David Goggins, Cameron Haynes, Jocko, all these guys, they're just hardcore old school dudes that just get after it.
Old souls.
Call them OGs, call them unks, whatever they are, and that's the thing, man. Life is short. You always hear that, it's like, oh, it's cliche. No, it is. It's short.
It flies, dude.
If life is a game, we all know the outcome, right?
Right.
So why not live to the fullest every day? That's the way I'm looking at it. And I'm just learning. I'm just growing. I'm trying to just, I felt like when I hit 40, something just flipped, right?
Right.
I just wanted to learn. I'm starting to read books. I want to read more, but it's just, it's one of those things where you got to put yourself in situations to succeed, right? You got to be able to create something, your family, mentor somebody. I told you today, be generous, tip well, help somebody out, mentor, give somebody a hand. Hey, what's funny? I want to bring up something before we end here. Niko took us on a little tour today, and we met this super nice guy, Mark. Shout out to him. He was at the
security guard.
The security guard over
Memorial
there.
Stadium.
Super, super nice guy. Told us his story. He felt real comfortable with us. He told us his journey. He lost 65 pounds, looks great, and he said something happened to him that flipped the switch. And it was he had like a quadruple bypass or something. It was like
shoulder or whatever.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things where he lost 65 pounds. He's retired, but he's on a health journey, right? And it's one of those things where, are you going to wait for something to happen before you get on a journey, or are you going to do it now? Make a change now. And like The Rock says, day one or one day, what are you going to make a choice? Because a lot of people are like, one day I'll get after that. I'll do my push-ups one day. No. Day one starts. You can start today. Anybody could start today. Day one or one day. But that's kind of what I live by. You're going to say something, do something. That's it. Wake up. It's just another day. Get after it. So that's where I'm at. I'm on a consistent fitness grind. Learn from everything I do. I'm sure next year, if I come back on here, I'll be doing something else crazy. Hyperbaric chamber. I don't know.
Hyperbaric chamber.
You never know. I need a bigger house for all that stuff. But
listen, man, I don't think I can top that. Man. I mean, literally, it's been awesome, man. If you have any closing remarks for the people out there, what do you got?
I just gotta say, if you are over the age of 40, just get after it. Don't be scared. It's gonna hurt at first. The runs, the working out, but you just gotta get on point, get your diet on point, intermediate fast, 24-hour fast, do something. You can't outwork a bad diet. You can't, right? Limit drinking. Moderation's key for everything in life. Don't overdo a bunch of stuff. Just get after it.
Get after it, man. Awesome, man. Well, love you to the moon and back, Pops. You as well, Mom. And this has been the Niko Project. Thank you, guys. Peace out.
Hey, now.